Let's have a conversation.
Hey y'all, happy Sunday. I hope that everybody's Sundays are going well. I hope that this week, as you turn to the chapter from last week into this week gives you new energy and it gives you new life, gives you new perspective. I'm doing okay. If I look tired, it's because I just woke up from a nap, and that's from the extra, um, I guess probably from the extra cardio that I've been adding in to my schedule that has made me a little more tired as my body's adjusting to that. But I'll be okay. It's not the end of the world. But what I wanted this live to be about, which is not going to be a very long one, but I just wanted to talk about how I got into doing interviews in the first place. So when I had my interview with John Brennan, I think 2 weeks ago at this point, 2 Mondays ago, I told him that his interview was my favorite interview so far, and he was like, "Oh, well, what? All two of them? I'm the best of the two, or I'm your favorite of the two," because he knows that I interviewed Ayana. But a correction on that is that was my first interview with a reality TV person, because that was far from my first interview that I've given ever. I started off with the idea of doing interviews back in about 2014, I believe it was. And that was because I was coming off of a time in my life when things were really bad for me. And I felt like everybody had an explanation in their mind as to why my life was where it was. And I heard some of those explanations, and to me, I couldn't have considered them further from the truth. So, as I was talking to people and meeting people and conversating with people, I realized that people were telling me things about themselves in those conversations that they don't tell most people. And I don't just mean in terms of secrets, but I just mean I don't have your typical conversations that other people have. So I will sit here and I'll talk to somebody, and maybe just because of who I am, maybe because of what I give off, or maybe because of the types of things that I ask, I'll hear something from them. And it could even be somebody I've known for a while, just not on a personal level. And we have a couple of conversations, and I'm like, wow, that would be really interesting for people to know. So I started out by reaching out to people that I knew in my life and in my community, that I was like, you know what? You have a story to tell, and I think that sharing this would help a lot of different people. And usually, when I asked those people, they would say to me, like, I'm so thankful for you thinking of me, but who am I for you to think that anyone would really care if you did an interview of me and put it on the internet? See, so I was having the opposite situation of what I have now, where I'm reaching out to people and having to prove who I am to them before they interview with me. I was reaching out to people who were saying, who am I, as in who are they, for me to think they're special to do an interview with them. So that's the situation that I was in at that time. And then I would explain to them, I think that you are important because of, I admire you and I respect you because of such and such. And I think that others, when they heard this particular thing that you were sharing with me, if they heard that, it would help a lot of different people. And then they would think about it a little bit. I had maybe two people tell me just no, just because they said I'm not comfortable with doing an interview. But the majority of the people that I asked said yes. I started something that I originally called the Marcus Chronicles.
And Caribbean Dan, and I also everyone. My name is Gael. I am a full-time guidance counselor, school guidance counselor, as well as a fitness instructor. I teach Zumba and Caribbean dance, and I also teach core and more. Into this fitness lifestyle is the desire to want to be healthy and fit, not just for myself, but also for my family, my children.
Anyways, that was my friend who was a fitness instructor, and I actually took some of her classes at that time. I was taking her classes. That's where I met her. And I actually did some like interview stuff. I wasn't on the camera asking her the questions. I would just tell her the questions and then record. And then also I got some class footage, cut and pasted in. I wasn't really skillful with the camera at the time. I didn't even have a good camera. But it was really just the concept that I was trying to get out there. So I want to say, I don't have an exact number, but I want to say at least 10, 11 different interviews. At least 10, 11 different interviews of family and friends and all of that. And then we fast forward to last year where I got my first reality TV interview, which was Ayana. And eventually I'm going to make a whole post about this where I give you guys like a pretty good amount of details about that. But for now, for the purposes of this specific video, I'll just say I never had a goal to interview her. I reached out to her when the Challenge All Stars 2 started airing. And there was an episode, it might have been the second episode or so, where she just had a really inspirational moment where she dominated this elimination and then went back and helped Leah, who she was going against, to complete the elimination because she was struggling to do it. And I just reached out to her and I told her, you know, I've been a fan for a number of years. And it was so inspirational to see you come back for All Stars and to see this moment with Leah. And I think I might have told her one or two reasons why that inspired me and a couple of things about my life. But really, I've sent DMs to reality TV stars before. And at that particular point in time, from that point in time, I had never gotten a response. I had gotten like a like, maybe like one of them liked my DM, but I had never gotten an answer from any of them. Not that I had a long list that I had DM'd, but I had DM'd enough to feel like, okay, I haven't gotten one answer, so I'm probably never going to get an answer. So when I messaged her, to my surprise, she answered me, and the message was long. The answer was long. And then I followed up with the things that she was saying. Next thing you know, we're just conversating back and forth. She even left me some voice notes. She eventually started asking me how my family was doing. I was really surprised in a good way, though, that we formed a friendship. So from there, I started to think about some of the things that she was talking to me about. She would give me like positive messages and quotes and things, inspirational things to help get me through the day. Send me a clip of a video that she saw that resonated with her or whatever. And I said, I think it would be cool to get her on my channel and have her talk about some of these things on the channel. So it took, even though I had been communicating with her for a little while by that point, I was still nervous about that. But eventually I was like, let me just go for it. Worst she could say is no. I asked her and she was like, yeah, absolutely. Let's get this done. It took some time to get it done for some behind the scenes reasons, not related to her, but just, you know, when you have an active TV show that you're on right now, there's legalities and different things, hoops that she had to go through to be able to do these interviews. But we eventually got the interview locked down, and we did the interview, and the interview went very well. I loved the interview, but I didn't know if I was going to do another one. I don't think that I reached out to anyone else since her. And I kind of went on a hiatus with this for a while, maybe a year, until I got into this Big Brother season and got this new following of mostly Big Brother fans. And then I started to think again about the interviewing stuff and my purpose behind it, my reason behind doing it, and then connecting with people at these different events, maybe 4 Challenge Mania events that I've been to, and Big D's birthday party, and the way that I connected with these people, these reality TV stars during those events that I attended, made me feel like, you know what, maybe I just kind of gave up too soon. Let me revisit this. So I reached out to John Brennan. I did that interview with John Brennan. I have one coming up with Wes tomorrow, by the way. My interview with Wes is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Definitely don't miss that. But I think it's kind of a calling for me in a way, not necessarily interviews specifically, but just having conversations with people that bring out and unlock things that they're not typically thinking about or talking about, and then being able to present those things to the world in a way that resonates for them and in a way that gives them something to take and digest and be able to use in their own life. Would I say I'm a super fan of what? Of what show? The thing about super fans. At one point in time, I said I'm a super fan of the challenge until I got into challenge groups online, I mean, where the super fans were able to have like amazing recall ability of minor details that happen in every season. And I can say that even though I've watched every challenge season, I don't hold a candle in those conversations because sometimes I forget what I eat for breakfast. Now, in terms of Big Brother, I would not say I'm a super fan, and that's because it's not because of how big or little of a fan I am. It's mostly because I know that super fans, again, study the game really intensely. It depends on what you define as a super fan. If you define a super fan as somebody who loves the show, and when it's on, they spend hours and hours and hours of their time diving into it, watching the live feeds, watching all the episodes, don't miss an episode, look into the history and the backgrounds of all the castmates and all that house guests and all that stuff, you could call me one. But I feel like by the real definition of a super fan, probably not. I would just say that I'm a big fan of the show. No, I would not. So by your definition, definitely not, because I would not love to go on. Of all the shows, of all the reality TV competition shows, the bottom 2 that I would want to actually be on is probably Big Brother and Survivor. Because I would see myself cracking so quickly in those type of environments. Big Brother is like a walking anxiety attack to me. In theory, I would love to go on the show, and I think I might even be good at it. But in practice, no, I think that I would go nuts being on Big Brother. But yeah, this is just a little explanation about how I became interested in doing interviews and why. I hope to get more in the future. I hope to get a lot of different ones from these shows. And, you know, I think that as people start to do these interviews with me, it could build up momentum and just become something bigger. And what I'm realizing too is that my page is like a resume now. So I don't have the huge following for when I ask somebody if they want to be interviewed by me, for them to just look at the page and say, oh, he's got 50,000 subscribers, he's got 100,000 subscribers and 10 million views. I don't have that kind of clout right now. So what I just have is just me explaining who I am, explaining what I'm about, and my why, my reason behind why I do these things. And, you know, I've gotten a couple of people, 3 so far now, that have joined and worked with me just off of those merits. And I think things are just going to keep building with time. So I hope all of you guys have a great Sunday, and we will chat again. If you haven't yet, please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you get notified when I drop more great content. Have a great day.